Facebook, I don't want to stay on here long today, and I don't even think I'm going to wait for people to come in, because I know they'll start coming in if they can, and that's fine. If not, it'll be on my page to share. But there's so many things that have happened recently, not just in the lives of people I know, but in the lives of people that I've heard about. And the one thing that I've always been a stickler on, and the one thing that I've always said, is you have to do your hard work. You have to take time to work on the ailments, AILMENTS, of your heart. Those places in your heart that are still broken, those things in your heart that haven't been mended. You have to take the time. Listen, what you don't face in your own life messes with and affects the lives of somebody else. You don't realize the damage that you place on your life and the lives of other people because you refuse to do the work on the inside of yourself. Look, people, the one thing that you owe to yourself is to be true. The one thing that you owe is to be able to offer yourself as a real sacrifice, a sacrifice that's been killed, that's been dealt with, that's dealt with every single part of who you are. If you're walking around carrying a whole bunch of stuff that you ain't faced, that you ain't dealt with, that you haven't taken the time to, like I say, walk back to the origin of that pain and deal with it, then you're walking around with a mess that you're offering to other people, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in friendships. However you offer yourself to other people, you're offering yourself something that you're not even one with, something that you haven't even become aligned with. And how dare you come to me, boy, I'm about to get mad, in a relationship, in a friendship, and offer me something that you don't even know about yet. You don't even know who you are. You don't even know what you have. You don't even know what lies within this vessel that you have, because you've not taken the time to do your own work. So you go out here and you get in relationships and you get in friendships presenting yourself as one thing when you're actually somebody else. People, you have got to do your hard work, and then in these relationships and friendships, you expect people to conform to who you are presenting yourself to be when that's not truly who you are. Listen, when you don't do your hard work, it leaves you fragmented and it leaves you broken. And let me tell you something. When you are broken and when you are fragmented, you lack the ability to be able to hear correctly, to be able to discern and perceive things correctly. So things that you think are whole are really not, because you're judging from a broken place. And when you judge from a broken place, then you attract yourself to something else that's broken. So now you got your broke self attracting yourself to something else that's broke. How do you expect to produce anything that's whole? You've got to do your hard work. You've got to sit down somewhere and search within your heart and search within your life and find out, like, where did this begin? What's the origin? How did I start this pattern? Because when you're broken and when you don't really know about the stuff, prime example, I was molested when I was a kid. I didn't know the narrative that created for me. And that narrative that process created for me was the narrative that I carried all throughout my childhood, teenagehood, and even early adulthood. It wasn't until probably about some 20 years later that I recognized that I had created a pattern of living that catered to the broken place in me because of molestation. I didn't recognize that molestation created a narrative in my mind that I needed to give my body in order to be accepted. I didn't recognize that molestation and that violation created a narrative that I was not good enough, and in order to be accepted, I had to give my body as payment. See, when you don't face stuff, listen, when you don't face stuff, and you just sweep it under the rug and then you don't talk about it. We don't deal with it. We don't have the healthy dialogues that we need to have. And you need to find yourself a safe circle of people that you can be able to have these dialogues with, because when you don't have them, this stuff in you, it don't just go away. I know in the black community, you know, a lot of people, we just have this thing, and not everybody in the black community, so don't be going crazy on me. But there are a lot of people in the black community, for sure, because I'm black, that will say, you know, I just won't ignore it. I just won't look at it. I'll just ignore it. And we have this notion that if we ignore it, then it'll just go away. Baby, let me tell you what happens. What happens is when you ignore that sleeping giant, when you ignore that thing that's sitting down on the inside of you, it grows. When you can ignore it however long you want to. You can ignore it 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. I don't care. But while you're ignoring it, guess what? It is growing. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And one day it peeps out of your life and it leaks out of your life at a time when you're not ready for it. At a time when you thought you had it under control. But it was never under your control. It was always leading the narrative in your life. It was leading the narrative of your brokenness. It was leading the narrative of your stupidity and the stupid decisions that you're making. But you're making the decisions because that sleeping giant on the inside of you is the host. It has the most stock in your life because you haven't dealt with it. You haven't gotten healed from it. You haven't gotten delivered from it. So now you walk in the lives of other people and they have to put up with the effects of this stuff that you never dealt with, this stuff that you never got healed, this stuff that you never got delivered. And you think people are supposed to give you some type of special privilege. No, they don't owe you that. They don't owe you that because you have not first given yourself what you owe yourself, and that's to be free. When you're free, that's when it's easy to make a decision. But when your mind and your heart is cloudy with all this junk that you've never dealt with, listen, people, do your heart work. I want to challenge everybody that will ever read this, share this with your friends and family. Do your heart work and be honest about where you are, because there's no way that your life can exhibit bad behavior if there's not some type of internal situation or a circumstance that happened to create it. It's never about the action of a person. It's about the spirit of the person. Remember, come on for Bible folk. Remember, Jesus said it ain't what goes into a man that defiles him, but what comes out of him. That's when he also went on over there and said, because it's out of the abundance of your heart that your mouth speak. What is he saying? He's saying when you open your mouth, I can really tell what's going on all up in here. By the things that you do, people can tell what's going on all up in here. So when you do stuff that's crazy, that's out of whack, that's out of character, that lets us know it's something going all up in here. And until you get all this stuff up in here, your heart, your mind, and your soul, to the place where it's healed and it's in a free place and it's delivered, everything that you do is going to be suspect. You can try to live the straightest line that you can. But baby, when you try to draw the line, I promise it's going to always have crooks in it. Only he can make the crooked line straight and the rough places smooth. When you try to do it, you're going to mess it up every time, because it's going to display the fact that there's something going on the inside of here that ain't quite right, that ain't quite together, that ain't quite what God needs it to be. And only when you get to the point where you can accept that and you can deal with it and you can work on it, that's when you're walking in truth. But any other time, baby, you are walking in a full-fledged lie and a place of deception. And you are expecting everybody to make provisions for that. And guess what? That is not my responsibility. That's not my responsibility. That ain't your mama's responsibility. It ain't your daddy's responsibility. Your friends, your foes, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wives, or children. It is not our responsibility to cater to your deception and brokenness. But it is our responsibility to give you a safe place to be healed and a safe place to be whole. And a safe place where you can come and you can air out your stuff and you can be real. And you can say, look, this is where I am. This is what I'm dealing with. And I can give you the tools that I'm allowed to give so that you can get that thing together. Listen, the decisions that you make in your life, Let me not say your life, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm just talking about y'all, because it's all of us. Like, real talk, the decisions that we make in our life is contingent upon the narratives that we have going on up in here. It's the mindsets that we have set based off of things. Some people suffer and take mental, physical, and emotional abuse because they don't want to be alone. Okay, let's talk about that. What is that thing that's making you feel like being in an abusive situation is better than being with your own self? Now you letting me know that you trust a violator and an abuser more than you trust yourself. So now I gotta ask you, what is it about yourself that you don't like, that you would rather submit yourself to abuse than to be free and whole by yourself? That lets me know you're not free and whole by yourself. So then I want to ask, why are you not free and whole by yourself? What has happened in your life that you have violated yourself so much that you don't even want to be with yourself? Come on. Come on. Them the kind of question that I ask. Because what you do on the outside lets us know what's going on right here on the inside. What you submit yourself to and what you are part of, hey Tiara, what you are part of on the outside lets us know all this kind of stuff. Come on, Lisa. He doesn't clean us up from the outside in. He cleans us up from the inside out. And baby, you can put on the best suit. You can put on the best dress. You can put on the best Maybelline. You can put on the best jewelry. You can put on everything you want to put on. But you can't dress up a mess. You can't dress up a mess. A mess is going to show no matter what you put on it. Because it's what's going on in here. So people, listen. I didn't mean to interrupt your Labor Day, but you know when it's hot on the press, I got to release it. Do your hard work. Listen, and I'm not excluded from this. I'm not. The reason why it's constantly my message is because since 2008, I've had to constantly do my hard work. And I got a whole lot of hard work to do. A whole lot. I ain't who I was, but I'm still striving to be who I'm going to be. Because every day is a process of me doing my hard work. Me going deep down up in here saying, D, how you feel about that? D, did that affect you? D, do you have, you have some lingering shattered feelings about some stuff? D, is it something you holding in that you ain't told? I have to do this hard work. I have to look at my emotions. I have to look at how I react to things, how I react to people, what presses my buttons, what triggers I have. And when I recognize those triggers, I got to ask myself, why does that trigger you so much? Why does that thing cause you to be upset? Come on, Millicent, mess can't be covered. Yes. Why is this stuff causing, stuff to happen in your life? And that's the work you got to do. You gotta love yourself enough. That's the thing. You gotta love yourself enough to get control of this right here. You hear me? You gotta love yourself enough to get control of this. Should no other person do anything in life to cause you to come out of control of this. Yeah, you shouldn't say something to me that will cause me to lose control of this. You shouldn't do something to me that causes me to lose control of this. No matter if you're sexy, no matter if you're ugly, no matter if you're rich or poor, no matter if you got it or don't got it, nothing that you do or say should ever cause me to lose my focus and lose my control and lose my alignment with this. Because regardless, baby, I live every day with this. I walk every day with this. I am inclined to be in this while I'm here on this earth. So I got to be sure that me and this are together. Regardless of what you do and how you do it, I got to make sure me and this is on the right page. Me and this. Got it. You understand what I'm saying? People, do your hard work. Man, do your hard work. Go back and look at all this stuff that done happened in your life. And stop lying and telling people that the stuff that done happened in your life didn't affect you. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Ain't nobody that strong, baby. Ain't nobody that strong. It affected you in some kind of way. And when you stop denying it and really start looking at it and facing it, go somewhere and sit down and get by yourself and really start dealing with it. Because that's your first test. If you can't sit down and be by yourself, that's the first test that you probably got some stuff going on all up in here that you really have decided that you don't want to face. But you got to face it. Because the sleeping giant grows. The sleeping giant grows. While it's asleep, it's still being fed and it grows. And one day it outgrows you to the point where you can't handle it anymore. You can't handle it anymore. So people, listen, I love y'all with the love of the Lord. Please enjoy your Labor Day. Barbecue, get your groove on, do what you do, hang with your family, your friends. I want you to have an amazing time. But somewhere during the course of the week, I really want you to sit down and do your heart work. Find out what's in here. Find out that stuff that done happen in your life that's still lingering all up and through here. Because if you still got some stuff that's lingering, that stuff plays a major effect on your life and what you do. If you hadn't gotten it yet, there's a book out there by this famous author. Her name is Dee Cotton. The book is called Something Has to Change. If you ain't never got that book, you can go on Google and barnesandnoble.com and you can get that book. And that book will kind of help you go through that process of working on this heart stuff. But like, seriously, do your heart work. Do your heart work, because it's going to help your life. Because it's a crying shame when we can tell everybody else's business, but we can't tell our own. We can know what's going on with Mikey, Minnie, Donald, Doug, Daffy. We know what's going on with them from A to Z. But we are blind to what's really going on with us. And some kind of way, we as a people in whole, black, white, Mexican, whoever, we as a people have got to turn this thing around where we stop focusing on other people first and ourselves second. We got to turn this ship around where we become the main and primary focus of our lives. Let me get me together first, and then I can have something for you. But until I can fix me, ain't nothing I can do for you. Let me work on me. Let me get into the doctor's office and on the operation table first, so that I can be able to be well and whole to be able to support somebody else. Okay? People, I love you with the love of the Lord. Happy Labor Day. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your rest from your labor. I pray that you have an amazing day. And after you have this day, I pray that sometime during this week you really sit down and you say, you know what, let me do my heart work. Let me figure out what's going on inside of me. Because if you don't deal with it, it gets in the way of your life, and it gets in the way of the prosperity of your life. Because you can only get as far as you are able to go with yourself being whole and being complete and being free of any other stuff. Amen. I love you. God bless you. Hey, Finn. I love you. God bless you. Be blessed of the Lord. Mwah.